Welcome back to the Decidedly Local podcast. I've got a little stymied this week with my scheduling for new episodes, but it's okay. We just roll with it. And fortunately, happened to be in Walmart today in Malone. Yes, I do go to Walmart for certain things and saw a friend. And it was great to see a friend from the Saranac Lake area randomly in the Malone Walmart. And he had mentioned that he had just listened to my podcast about speed limits and was just appreciative, I think, of getting to listen and learn more about that topic. And so he got me thinking, and I mentioned this to him, he got me thinking about a bridge that was rebuilt near his house a couple of years ago. I'm not going to say where it is. It's in the Saranac Lake area, town road, small bridge, and it seemed to take forever for that bridge to get rebuilt. And everybody on the wrong side of that bridge had to go around, and it took quite a long time to go around while this bridge was closed. And I think it was kind of ended up being kind of a joke for how long it took. I was also listening to an excerpt of a book about the Great Depression. In that book, it talked about the beginning of the construction of the Empire State Building, I think in 1930. Now the Empire State Building was built in 13 months. And there it stands as just one of the most iconic buildings, an amazing skyscraper in the entire world. 13 months it was built. That made me think about the I-95 bridge collapse a couple of years ago in Pennsylvania. I think it was like 150,000 cars a day go across this bridge, and all of a sudden it's closed down. And they were able to temporarily rebuild it in 12 days. So thanks to my friend, my mind started racing about all of these things, right? How is it that a bridge for I-95 corridor can be rebuilt temporarily in 12 days? How is it the Empire State Building was built in 13 months? Why did it take so long for this local bridge for a small road to get rebuilt? Why did it take? There was another bridge in town that was closed. It didn't end up being closed as long as they had predicted, but it was still closed for a long time and was really inconvenient for people who lived on the wrong side of it. Why is it that Ampersand Avenue in the Village took so long to complete? And in fact, they're not completed. They haven't completed it. They didn't actually make all the finishing touches before winter hit. Why is it that it took so long from when the town awarded a contract for the work on the mountain bike pedestrian bridge, trail bridge, from the town park trails to the rail trail to get completed? Now, I think the construction actually only took a few days, but still, this was a wooden bridge that's 20 feet long, and it took months from the time that the contract was awarded until it was actually installed. When any of us start thinking about this stuff, it drives us crazy. We all agree it drives us crazy. And the question is, how did we get here? And is there a way to get back to something better, something, I guess, faster, right? And it's a very tough question. And I just wanted to just set the stage about that. But here's the question. I struggle with this. I'm truly asking you to think about this and give me your feedback. There are many ways to speed up projects, construction projects that are municipal construction projects. And the question is, what are we willing to change? What are we willing to give up in order to have faster construction projects? The bridge replacement in Pennsylvania, one of the reasons that was able to go so quickly is because the governor declared an emergency because it was such a important corridor. And so they were able to ignore bidding requirements. I'm pretty sure they didn't really worry about traditional environmental review processes. They declared an emergency and just everybody came together and made it happen. Now, the bridge that my friend lives near, could you make the argument that for the folks that lived on the wrong side of it, that it was an emergency and that something should be done to speed it up? It's a good question. Anyway, so back to my question for all of you. What are we willing to give up? I made a list of a few of the things that can make municipal construction projects take longer. Not necessarily an exhaustive list, but as I go through these, ask yourself, which one of these things are you willing to give up, or are we willing to give up as a society, as a culture, as a community, to help construction projects happen faster? What about relaxing or getting rid of minority and women-owned business requirements? Because sometimes that can slow a project down. Sometimes it can make a project more expensive. Are you willing to give up that? What about grant paperwork? Sometimes, a lot of times, these projects are funded through grants, and you might have a project all designed and ready to go. You might even have contractors lined up, but until the paperwork is done and the state or the federal government signs off on it, you can't do anything. Are we willing to give that up? What about environmental review? A lot of projects have environmental review requirements. They might be state requirements, and if there's federal funding involved, there will be federal environmental review requirements. Are we ready to give that up? What about worker safety? Now, of course, one would say, compared to the Empire State Building, we do a lot to protect workers today. Yes, we do. Absolutely. But it slows things down. Are we willing to give that up? What about inspections? A bridge project is complicated, and you have to make sure the bridge is safe. Waiting for different types of structural inspections can slow a project down. Should we relax some of those? What about bidding requirements? Municipalities have to go out to bid for most construction projects to make sure that they get the best price for the taxpayer. That takes time. Wouldn't it be easier if the highway superintendent could just go out and find somebody who can do the project the fastest and just get it done? And as long as he thinks it's a reasonable cost. So are we willing to give up bidding requirements to make these things happen faster? What about prevailing wage and union protections? Municipalities have to pay prevailing wage, and sometimes that can slow a project down if you're looking for the right help. It can also make a project more expensive. Are we willing to give that up? There's more, of course, and like I said, not an exhaustive list. But the question for us all to consider, and again, I don't have all of the answers, is what are we willing to do differently if we are constantly frustrated by how long it takes things to happen in government? And I'm just telling you, and it's not a surprise, there's enough blame to go around. This is not a partisan problem. It's not a Democrat or Republican problem. Everybody has a hand in getting us to this point. And, all of those things that I listed are there are many good reasons all of those things exist. I'm not trying to cast doubt on any one of those things. It's just a question. All of those things can contribute to cost and speed. So what are we willing to do differently? Again, I would like to try to offer solutions on this podcast, and here's one. And this one's going to take some time, but I do think that this is a real issue, and it affects. Let me rephrase that. I know it's a real issue, and it not only affects public works, public infrastructure projects. It also affects anyone trying to get construction work done around here, and it is the lack of labor. I have no doubt that in some cases, in perhaps a couple of these bridge projects I was talking about locally, part of the problem is construction companies have too much work and not enough workers to be working on many projects simultaneously. How many of you have had a hard time finding HVAC technicians, plumbers, electricians, contractors to do work at your own house or your business? It's a real issue. So my my solution today, which doesn't change anything overnight, but I guess it's something I hope we can all, as a community, start working on, is how do we get parents and kids to rediscover the trades so that we have enough skilled workers in the future to do all of the work that we want and need done in our community? How do we make sure our kids are trained and understand that they can have rewarding, lucrative careers in the trades, that they don't need, maybe they want to leave temporarily, but they do not need to leave permanently. They don't need to leave the community to find financial success. We all know if you want to do this work and you know how to work hard, you can make it. And I just think we've got to get back to that more because we've got real shortages and they are only going to get worse. Our ability to attract huge numbers of people, families with children from elsewhere is limited for a lot of reasons. And I think I'll talk about that again in more detail in a different episode. So we have to work on those who are here, for the kids and the families that are here, and build up a workforce with people who are here and already comfortable with the community and help them be successful. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.